Laudetur Jesus Christus. It is important to understand that we can take any verb, as for example, to hear, and we can add the letters ing and come up with hearing. And so we convert the verb to hear into what is called a participle, hearing. And the reason why it's called a participle is that it participates in the nature of a noun and of an adjective. A hearing can be a noun also. We could say there is going to be a hearing at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Or there could be a hearing room. So hearing is a participle because it shares sort of in the quality both of the verb and of a noun. In Latin, we take the stem and we add the letters ns. As for example, laudare, we take lauda and add the letters ns and we have laudans. I have already introduced this in episode number 15. So from laudare we can have laudans, from videre videns, from dicere dicens, and from audire audiens. And these are declined using the third declension. So we have laudans, laudantis, videns, videntis, dicens, dicentis, audiens, audientis. These are so-called present tense participles. Now, they're present tense participles in a sense that they agree with the tense of the main verb in a sentence. For instance, I could say, I see a woman reading. I see is present tense, and therefore reading, a woman reading, takes on the present tense. But I could also say, yesterday I saw a woman reading. In this case, reading takes on the past tense of the governing verb, I saw. Or I could also say, I will see a woman reading. In this case, reading acquires the future tense of the governing verb. That's just an observation. We should be aware of this, but it's not of extreme importance as far as going over the participles in Latin. And the reason why I say participles is because we have 4 participles in Latin. I have just spoken about the present tense active participle, laudare, laudans, and laudantis. Let's look at some examples of these in a sentence. I could say, for instance, plausum laudantium declinare festinabat. He was in a hurry to decline the applause of those who were praising him. Laudantium. Again, the declension of laudans is laudans, laudantis, laudanti, laudantem, laudante. And plural is laudantes, laudantium, laudantibus, laudantes, laudantibus. So in plural, of those who are praising is laudantium. So plausum laudantium declinare festinabat. He was in a hurry to decline what? The applause of the laudantium, of the praise praisings of those who were praising him. Another example could be tanta velocitate transcurrit ut pene sensum videntis effugit. It passed by so fast, tanta velocitate, with such speed, it passed by, transcurrit, it passes by, that you can hardly, that it escapes the sense of the one who sees it, videntis, that it almost escapes the sense of a seeing person, of the one who sees it. As we could see, there is no correlation between, no precise comparison between Latin and English, because in English we would express this in a different way. We would say of the one who is looking, or something like that. But in Latin we say tanta velocitate transcurrit ut pene sensum videntis effugit. We have to get into the habit of rereading the Latin sentence and try to capture the meaning in Latin itself. Another sentence would be discedunt, they are leaving, they leave, melius esse dicentes, or discedunt dicentes, they leave, saying, dicentes, in plural, right? Melius esse interferas habitare quam cum talibus hominibus, that it is better to live with beasts than with such people. Disceduns melius esse dicentes interferas habitare quam cum talibus hominibus. And a final sentence, cantor, a singer, one who sings, cantor plausus excitat audientium. The singer is arousing the applause of the listeners, we would say in English. But audience is hearing, and audientium of the hearings of the ones who are hearing. So again, the Latin doesn't correspond in its manner of expression to English. Cantor plausus excitat audientium. So we see laudans, videns, dicens, audience, and we have an example in a sentence for each one of these. So these are the present tense active participles. We already have heard about the past perfect passive participle when we were talking about verbs, and we were talking about the principal parts of each verb. So for instance, the principal part of laudare is laudo, laudas, laudare, laudavi, laudatus, laudata, laudatum. And those, laudatus, laudata, laudatum, are the passive past participles. From videre, we would have video, vides, videre, vidi, visus, visa, visum. Visus, visa, visum. From dicere, we have dictus, dicta, dictum. And from audire, we have auditus, audita, auditum. So each one of these has three endings, one for masculine, one for feminine, and one for neutral. And those are declined as anything else that ends in us, a, So let's look at some examples for the past passive participles. we could say vitam illius ab aliis laudatam nos quoque laudamus. His life or her life, praised by others, we also praise. Vitam illius ab aliis laudatam nos quoque laudamus, because we have vita laudata, and we decline laudata, laudate, laudate, laudatam, laudata, as terra, terre, terre, terram, terra. These declensions we have already covered, and so the past passive participle follows the same form of declension, and since we are talking about his life, we use the accusativus. We say vitam illius laudatam, his life praised by others, ab aliis nos quoque laudamus, we also praise. So again, we notice that the Latin sentence in its form is very distinct from English. Vitam illius ab aliis laudatam nos quoque laudamus. The next sentence would be Feles, a cat. Feles murem captum abstulit. A cat took the captured mouse. Murem, mus muris is a mouse. Murem captum. Captus, capta, captum is captured. From capio, capis, capit. Capimus, capitis, capiunt is to catch, to get hold of. Feles murem captum abstulit. Next sentence would be hoc legi. I read this. Remember, hic hac hoc. Hoc legi is from legere. Lego, legis, legit, legimus, legitis, legunt. And past is legi, legisti, legit, legimus, legistis, legerunt. So hoc legi, I read this in supradicta epistula, in the above said letter, or in the above mentioned letter. Excuse me. Hoc legi in supradicta epistula. And the final sentence from the book of Isaiah the prophet, auditam faciet Dominus gloriam vocis suae. The Lord will cause the majesty or the glory of his voice to be heard. Auditam. So audita, auditus, audita, auditum is the past perfect passive participle. And gloria is audita, and the Lord will make the majesty of his voice, the glory of his voice heard. So Dominus faciet gloriam vocis suae auditam. And remember that the order of words in Latin is very free, and therefore we start with auditam faciet Dominus gloriam vocis suae. Again, I recommend reading a sentence like that a number of times until you begin to completely understand it in Latin without having to make a mental reference to English. So we have now covered two of the four Latin participles, the present active and the past perfect passive. There is an active future participle which is very similar to the one we just spoke about, the passive perfect. but the ending is different. So we were looking now at from laudare, laudatus, laudata, laudatum, from videre, visus, visa, visum, from dicere, dictus, dicta, dictum, and from audire, auditus, audita, auditum. The ending for the future active participle is also attached to the stem, but the ending is urus, ura, urum. So from laudare, we will have laudaturus, laudatura, laudaturum. From videre we have visurus, visura, visurum. From dicere is dicturus, dictura, dicturum. And from audire we have auditurus, auditura, auditurum. And the meaning of laudaturus is I am about to praise, or I will be praising. So let's look at some examples for that. Magister vocavit juvenem quem laudaturus erat. The teacher called the youth, the young person, the young man, whom he was about to praise, or whom he was going to praise. Notice that in English we use auxiliary words, whereas in Latin we have this specific form for the future active participle. Magister vocavit juvenem quem laudaturus erat, whom he was going to be praising. Another sentence, consolamur, we are consoled, consolamur, quoniam, because brevi visuri sumus amicos nostros. We are consoled because soon we are about to see our friends. Visuri sumus. So it's a plural from visurus. And the declension would be singular visurus, visuri, visuro, visurum, visuro, and plural visuri, visurorum, visuris, visuros, visuris. So the plural is consolamur quoniam brevi visuri sumus amicos nostros. We are about to see them. It's impossible to really render this in English. Visuri, we are the ones who are about to see. Next example, rem, a thing, in the accusativus is, because remember, res, rei, rem, re. So, rem sum dicturus incredibilem. I'm about to say something incredible, an incredible thing. I could reverse the order and say dicturus sum, I am about to say, rem incredibilem. But here we have rem sum dicturus incredibilem, sed non falsam. I'm about to say something incredible, but not untrue, not false. Rem sum dicturus incredibilem, sed non falsam. And the final example for the future active participle, quis auditurus crederet hoc. Quis is who in a question, quis or quid. Who or what? Quis, quid. Quis auditurus, who about to hear this would have believed it. Crederet hoc. Quis crederet hoc? Who would believe it? But auditurus, about to hear such a thing. Quis auditurus crederet hoc. Again, there is no corresponding English way of saying this. What I'm trying to do is trying to cover and go over. I understand that I'm cramming a lot of information into one segment, but I'm just trying to cover these things so that we understand if you're trying to read some Latin text and you run into these things, you will understand what this is all about. We have to distinguish these four participles: laudans for present, laudatus, laudata, laudatum for past, passive, laudaturus, laudatura, laudaturum for future active, and there is one more, laudandus, laudanda, laudandum. Again, we have the stem, laudare, and we add the letters nd and the endings for masculine, feminine, or neutral. So from laudare we have lauda, laudandus, laudanda, laudandum. From videre we have videndus, videnda, videndum. From dicere we have dicendus, dicenda, dicendum. And from audire we have audiendus, audienda, audiendum. And the meaning is that something should happen to someone or to something. As in a very well-known English word, memorandum, which really means something should be remembered. We should be reminded of something. So let's look at some examples for these, for the future passive. I could say vita illius, his life, vita illius, laudanda est, is to be praised. Laudanda. Another example would be, ille non potuit videre, he could not see, quod videndum fuit, a thing what was to be seen, what should have been seen. Quod videndum fuit, ille non potuit videre. Another example would be from dicere, pudet dicere, it's embarrassing to say this, pudet dicere, et tamen dicendum est, however it should be said. Pudet dicere, et tamen dicendum est. And a final example, magister ad audiendum discipulos provocat. The teacher challenges the students to listen ad audiendum. Audiendum is something that should be heard, and he challenges to the something that should be heard. Ad audiendum, in English we would say to listening, but again Latin is expressing this idea in a completely different way. And there's really no easy way to translate this and say it corresponds to this in English. We really have to start thinking in Latin. Magister ad audiendum discipulos provocat. Or again, we could say, magister provocat discipulos. The teacher is challenging the disciples ad audiendum, to hear, to pay attention, to be hearing, to listen, to the act of listening. So we have heard about the present tense participle, which I covered earlier in a segment, which I believe was segment number 15 or lesson number 15, if you want to call it that. And this time I went over that one and 3 others covering the present active, laudans, laudantis, videns, videntis, dicens, dicentis, audiens, audientis, The past perfect passive, laudatus, laudata, laudatum, visus, visa, visum, dictus, dicta, dictum, auditus, audita, auditus, audita, auditum, and the future active, laudaturus, laudatura, laudaturum, visurus, visura, visurum, dicturus, dictura, dicturum, auditurus, auditura, auditurum, and the future passive, laudandus, laudanda, laudandum, videndus, videnda, videndum, dicendus, dicenda, dicendum, audiendus, audienda, audiendum. So this is a little bit of a exercise in grammar with some examples added so that we could start exploring this concept, which is different in Latin from English, and you have to start getting acquainted with this. And as you see it in text, then you can start asking yourself, well, what form is this, and what does this really represent? And with that, valeatis quam optime.